everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Lisa Brarely, and beside me is my amazing husband Scott Brarely, and this is Soulmates and Suitcases, episode 12. And we have a very exciting, bright, I'm going to call it a bright conversation that we're going to have with Carrie Corcoran. Welcome, Carrie.
Well, thank you so much, Scott and Lisa, for having me on tonight. It's an honor to be here, and Soulmates and Suitcases. I love traveling, and I've gone through a couple of soulmates.
Well, there you go, right? See?
However, though, the Soulmates and Suitcases isn't really about traveling. It a little bit. It's a little bit of both. It's about unpacking your stuff
Unpacking,
and
yes,
get rid
yes,
of the
Yeah,
negative stuff,
yeah.
and then reloading it with positive stuff.
that is true. I knew that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, Carrie, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background. You're coming to us from the U.S., and yeah, tell us a little bit about your mission in life, what you're hoping to share with us today.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Wisconsin, and I have lived all over the place, all over the United States up until, it was back in 2000. I don't even remember when I got married, but it was a long time ago. And I was in event planning for about 20 years. I did trade shows and events for about 20 years. And then I made the leap into employer branding, did that for 10 plus years, which is what I'm still currently doing, a little bit of consulting and short-term project work. What I'm really excited about, though, is that I am on my path to becoming a professional speaker. And I have a movement that I recently launched, last weekend, last Sunday, which is called Unbreakable Light. And it really exemplifies like everything that I went through in my journey. And that is how it all came about, was things that I experienced in life, and I want to be able to help others and impact humanity by using my voice in order to do that and to help them find their inner light.
Yeah, amazing. And you mentioned about, of course, becoming a speaker, and something you mentioned. I'm gonna like look through here because in my notes from you, you had mentioned something. My spiritual gift is my voice. So when did you discover this? And I know you are in the top 10 finalists of the speaker competition. So tell us a little
Top
bit
10
about
next, top 10 next top speaker.
that. Yeah.
Entered it on a fluke, and it was just another sign from the universe, because I went from, there were over 7,000 people who submitted 2 to 3 minute reels to be considered to compete. That was narrowed down to 200. Then it was narrowed down to 100. The top 100 were able to compete. And it was an all night, for me, competition because it was run out of Australia. And made the top 100, top 50, and then the top 10. And I competed in the top 10. So that was just another sign from the universe to me to say, okay, this is the trajectory that I want to go in, and to reinvent myself again. I have been seeing so many angel numbers.
Mm.
I have gone through and am in the process of a spiritual awakening. And I have seen and experienced many unexplained things in the last 3 years. And so it's just like God, source, spirit, universe is throwing all of these things at me. And I ran across someone on TikTok who was talking about spiritual gifts. And I have been told by at least 7 people that I'm a healer and that I have healing hands. And traditionally that would mean like energy healing or Reiki, or going into that type of profession to help others in that format. And what she said is, even if you're a healer, it doesn't mean that you have to go in just the energy healing direction. Your spiritual gift could be your voice. And I was like,
Mm.
my gift is my spiritual voice, or my spiritual gift is my voice.
Exactly.
Now, I have a
Yeah.
question. Now, when you talk about spirituality, are you talking religious spirituality? Or are you talking universe and the creator kind of spirituality?
Yep, God, source, spirit, universe, angels, ascended masters, all of the above.
We,
Source, that's the source.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the show. It was actually somebody we did a podcast that turned us onto the show, and it's on Netflix. It's called Finding Joe,
YouTube.
or YouTube, sorry, YouTube.
Mm.
And it's a gentleman that apparently started with the native culture and their spirits and their spiritual advisors, and then he's done Buddhism, and the whole movie talks about like Christianity and all the stuff in it, because every culture has their own twist on what the spirit is.
Right.
And like I know in the Western culture, when you mention the word God, a lot of us turn away from the word God. Like I do. I don't like the word. I mean, you could twist it to good orderly direction, but it's not what's been drilled in our heads our whole lives. So so I got to call it either the creator or the universe for me.
I love that. Yeah, I am a big believer that like we're all one, and we all we're souls, and we're here, we're all here for a purpose, whatever that is, and like both of you have the gift of giving back to your communities and helping them by doing your podcast and sharing your experiences and your happy marriage, because let's face it, aren't a lot of people who are happily married right now.
No.
And that's great. And so you're inspiring people by doing that, and you're having very interesting guests on who are also inspiring others. And so it's a great way to give back to humanity, and it's a ripple effect, and you may not know who you're impacting, but that's my philosophy too. That's how I want to make a difference.
Exactly. And so where did you discover sort of your inner spirit? Like when did something big happen or something like, kind of take over? Or like you mentioned, someone else saw something in you. So what happened?
Okay, so that is a very interesting story. The way that I discovered, I guess, started my awakening was I met someone else who was already awakened. And she is a survivor of satanic sexual ritual, childhood abuse, and trafficking. And she opened my eyes to that side of the world. And because I didn't know anything about it at that point in time. And the more time that I spent with her, and she does Reiki, and the more time that I spent with her, like every single time that I would spend time with her and just like meet her out for coffee or tea or what have you, I just felt lighter and brighter every time I left her presence. And then I started, so I got laid off twice in 2023 in January and also in December. Very recently, after she told me her experience at a very high level, she didn't share details of anything that happened, just at a very high level. And while I was laid off, I ran across something on Twitter, now X, and that took me down a rabbit hole, which took me down another rabbit hole, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And I was able to start to see behind the veil. And once all of that happened, I just started becoming more aware of certain things. I was married at the time. I was married for just shy of 20 years. And my husband at the time and I were on very different value systems because of what I discovered. And he didn't believe in it. and he thought, you're making a big deal about this. This is not that big of a deal. Why do you care so much? We don't even have children. And I said, because I care about humanity. Ooh,
Yeah.
get emotional on that. And so we went through like 2 rounds of marriage counseling, and because of what I discovered and shared with him. And so 2 rounds of marriage counseling. And I remember being in the counseling session, and the therapist asked him, have you ever asked her what her spirituality means to her? And he said, no, I haven't. And he said, well, why not? And he said, because I don't care about it.
Ooh.
And I was like, wow. And he said, she's going to continue to go down this path, and I don't want to support that.
Wow. Well, at
So,
least he's honest and open about that.
right. Yeah. And the thing is, like, I always wore a mask in my marriage, but I didn't realize it at the time that I was doing that. And so it was through the spiritual awakening that like all of that was starting to come to the surface. And then I was like, okay, maybe I have been. And I was never able to be my true authentic self. And that was a deal breaker for me to continue being married. Was number 1, my spiritual path, and number 2, I have to be me. And if you're not going to support me being me, then that's not going to work. Plus, I went to a spiritual fair and I had a reading from a psychic. And the psychic was spot on with everything that was going on in the marriage, like spot on. And she said, your soul growth, you keep rising, and he's down here. I don't know that he's going to be able to catch up to you. And as you rise, your light is going to continue to shine, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to handle that.
And it's not better or worse. It's just the distance.
But you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Funny about that, what I've learned in the last 4-ish years, I don't have to agree with her. I don't even have to be on the same page as Lisa sometimes. However, if I support the page that she's on, that what you're just talking about doesn't really matter.
Right.
Because she can support me in the page I'm on, and I support the page she's on, and we grow together. And it's like, and doing that extra little thing that you're too lazy to do, but you do it anyways, just because it helps the relationship grow. And that's what I believe what we're missing in today's society is we only think about what's going on here and what's going on here, not what's going on with the two of us. And since I've done that huge shift, it's like, it's amazing how after years we can get closer together. It doesn't even make sense in my brain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense in my brain that we've been together almost 5 years and we haven't even had an argument.
That's amazing. We never argued.
No, it's a discussions and it's understandings and awarenesses and what are we learning from this?
Well, and the best relationships, people are willing to grow together. Yeah. And that was the deal breaker for me. It's like, you're not willing to like be open-minded about any of this black and white. Like, he was black and white, and that was it. And so we decided to sell the house. And so this goes into like, how did you discover and your awakening transpire? So the house was on the market. I was still living there. He had moved out. One morning I get up and I look above my bed, and there's 2 rows of lights, and they're white lights, and they're like kind of like chopped up 2 different lines going like this, moving. It was like a frequency. And so I was like, well, that's new. And so So I went around the room and I was like, okay, could it be coming from over here, over there, over there, over there? Like, where's this light coming from? 2 months straight, every morning, the rows of lights above my side of the bed. And then there were maybe 3 times when they switched over to his side of the bed. And explain that. Okay, I couldn't. And so I asked my friend who can read things like that. And I said, can you come in the house? Can you tell me if they're good or bad? Because like, I don't know what to think about this. And she came in and she's like, no, they're good. They're protecting you. And then I did ask in a psychic reading, and she said, they're good spirits. They're actually from Sean's ancestors, from Sean's side of the family, female ancestors from his side of the family, and they're pissed off at how he treated you.
Oh, so what, were they there for you, or?
They were there for me.
Oh, wow.
And 2 months straight, it would be pitch dark in the room, and I would see these frequencies just getting light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, 2 rows going up and down. And like, I would sit on my bed and I would just stare at them and watch them because I was fascinated by it.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So you had that experience, and then were there other things that were happening? You talked about angel numbers and things like that.
Oh yeah. So that was one big thing. The next big thing, oh gosh. So I started seeing purple light, like bright violet, not violent,
Yeah.
violet light in my consciousness. And I've done Reiki before. I've had sessions and things like that, and some energy healing. And so I know that color is the highest level of consciousness.
Yeah.
And just constant, like, just first thing in the morning. Sometimes, mostly with my eyes closed, a lot of times even with my eyes open, like I can see it. Currently, I can't look at the sun for more than 5 seconds because it is so bright, incredibly bright. I see crystals in the pavement. I see fractals of light. So if I look at a street light, I can see every color and every fractal in a street light.
Wow.
My energy makes lights flicker. So don't be surprised.
I did see it.
Okay, yeah.
I did see it already. The lights flickered behind her.
I didn't see it.
Not surprised. Another big thing that happened was I had a friend who had betrayed me in business. And I was trying to figure out, like, do I completely cut him out of my life? Do I forgive him? What do I do about this situation? And I went to take my dog outside to go to the bathroom, and the door locked behind me. And it was a screen door, and it was a lock, an old school lock that had to go like up 90 degrees, curve, and click into a hook, like a hook and eye. So that happened. Now, thankfully, my friend was sitting on the couch, and I said, "Did you lock the door behind me?" And she said, "No, I didn't." And I was like, "Okay, well, that just happened." And then my teddy bear moved overnight. I had a teddy bear in my chair, which always sat in the middle of my chair. The very next morning, it was sitting on the side arm of my chair.
So what meaning did that have for you? Or
So my dad passed away from pancreatic cancer. And it was a teddy bear that my mom bought for me through the Pancreatic Cancer Foundation. It was for their fundraiser. So I think maybe he was communicating with me somehow.
yeah. And what place did your dad have in your life? Like, what did that mean to you?
Just that I'm being protected, watched over, and I mean, he passed away when he was 54. So I'm a twin, and growing up, we weren't like a touchy-feely family. We weren't emotional. Like that just wasn't.
Me.
That's normal back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just wasn't. I'm Gen X, so that just wasn't really any part of our family. We didn't say like I love you, I miss you, like, you know, like we went off to college and they're like, hey, good luck, see ya, you know. And like they did the best that they could with what they knew. Um so that was my relationship. Parents, both my parents worked as we were growing up. So, you know, what they call them, were they latchkey kids? Like we made our own food and fed ourselves and took care of everything. So, like didn't have a super close relationship. But I think that was him saying, hey, it's all right.
Yeah.
So I gotta say something, and you're gonna see this when you, sorry, when you see the video. There's light going up here, there's light going right out of the top of your head, and there's a light going across. And now I think the only light is behind you on your right side, like there's not two back there. Look at that, babe.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
know.
not kind of weird?
Yeah, she has light coming from me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's one light back there. There is a light overhead here, and then I have a ring light above me here.
Oh, the ring light might do it, but it's pretty. Nope, the ring light didn't do it. Like it's bigger on this side where the lamp is, but there's a spot that kind of goes this way, and then right above your head is.
But what's important with that awareness is that seeing what you want to see and what will support your journey, right?
It is. And so I just keep having these experiences. And I'm trying to remember if there were any other. Oh, I see orbs every once in a while. Like I was in Trader Joe's the other morning and I saw an orb on the ceiling that was like this big. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then in the Trader Joe's parking lot, when it was dark outside, I looked up at the light and it started flashing. So
you're coming to life, and how or how do you describe this? So I know at one point in your information you sent to me something about like rediscovering your light. One way I've kind of thought about it is that like we're all born perfect. We're all born as perfect beings, souls, however you want to describe it. And over our lifetime, we're layered. And that's kind of the visual for me. We're layered with other people's beliefs, expectations, or whatever. And we reinforce those things. And then our job, I'll say, as we mature and become aware, is to peel back the layers to kind of rediscover that perfect inner being or person or soul. And so how do you look at that as to where you've kind of journeyed over your here on Earth?
Oh my gosh. So I truly believe that we have to experience breaking in order for the light to come in. And
it's different for everyone. I do want to, it's an interesting topic. I want to actually look at that a little more because we can compare that sort of spectrum of what trauma, tragedy, breaking looks like, and what that means for the individual. I didn't mean to cut you off. However, I do think that's important.
That's okay. I think for me, it's just, I mean, the unraveling, I mean, I was married for 20 years and neither one of us nurtured the marriage. And it was my first marriage, his second marriage. And we probably should have gotten divorced 10 years in because by the end of it, we were just best friends living together. Right. And so just like an onion, like there's just like peeling away different pieces of it to get to the inner part of it and what that looks like. And so I feel like that's been my journey, is just peeling back those layers. And every time I peel back a layer, something else is revealed, and it brings out more light.
So
It's kind of, I want to go back to what Lisa said about that we're born perfect.
Just a brief pause in the show. If you'd like to dive deeper into our work, our books are available on Amazon. You can also get instant electronic copies at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Now, back to the show.
And I sometimes wonder if we are, because the generational trauma gets carried down the line. So are we really born perfect? Or are we already born with trauma in our body from the past generations? And then as we grow, we get the new trauma that's been passed down again from our parents and siblings. And then we need to unravel all of that as well. And so I'm not sure.
I do think that's true. There's a lot of ancestral trauma, and you do have to heal that. One of the other things that happened, and I think I mentioned this to you, Lisa, I had shared this, is I had a brain aneurysm. And my circumstances around that were very interesting.
do tell.
So when I was with someone, and this was someone who I never should have been with in the first place. And so this is where the growth comes after all of it happens. I had just spent basically a week with this guy, hooking up with him, because after 20 years of being married, I hadn't been touched by anybody in a year. And that just happened to be presenting itself. And so I was just like, okay, I can do casual sex, right? So I do for a week. And then the last time that I was with him, I had an orgasm. And when I opened up my eyes, I couldn't see. And it was just dark. And so I told him, I was like, I can't see anything. And he was like, well, just go take, maybe your sight will come back in 20 minutes or so. And so I took a shower, because I thought, I don't know, I'll just take a shower. Maybe my eyesight will come back when I'm done in the shower. And it did. It corrected itself. And then I went numb on like the entire left-hand side of my body. I couldn't feel anything on this side. I could on this side, and I tested on this side, and I couldn't feel anything. And I went like this. I couldn't feel my face either. And so that experience was interesting. And I was sitting on his floor, and for whatever reason, like, I didn't call 911. I didn't call an ambulance. I didn't go to urgent care. I didn't go to the hospital when it happened. I called my sister, and I was like, hey, I know you've had a mini stroke before. What were your symptoms? And so I was sitting on his floor, and he said, are you going to sit on the floor all night? And I said, I don't know. Maybe I am. I couldn't tie my shoelaces. I didn't have the coordination to tie my shoelaces. And he said, well, why don't you just come up on the bed, take a nap. I'm sure you'll feel better when you wake up. And so I did. I laid down on the bed, and then he said, please don't die in my apartment.
Wow.
And I didn't think anything of it at that time. Because I wasn't thinking clearly. And the next day, I talked to my girlfriend about it, and she said, do you think you were drugged? And I said, well, I mean, maybe, because he did tell me he had a bag of mushrooms in his bathroom. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that could have happened.
Yeah, I don't think the mushrooms would do that, though.
But he may have other things as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Right. But he was the only one who, like, he gave me water to drink. I didn't get, and there was no alcohol involved. All I drank while I was there was water. And so I was thinking that I was drugged. And then I went to my holistic practitioner about a week after that. And she does the muscle testing with your body and more like on the kinesiology side of things. And she asked if it was a spiritual attack on my body. And it said yes. And then I had a Reiki session, and another practitioner said, what happened to you was not from anything in this lifetime. It's from previous lifetimes. And unless you heal this from what happened previously from your ancestors, this will continue to show up health-wise in a different way. So that ties back to the ancestral trauma. And is that something that we carry with us? So I do feel like it is something that we carry with us, and that we have to learn how to heal from it, even if we don't know what it is. And then it was about a week later that I went in and had the MRI done, and they confirmed it was a small brain aneurysm.
Wow. Yeah, it comes out, lots of these things do come out through your health, or maybe all things do come out through your health in many ways.
I've just had a little bit of a crazy experience. I'm involved in 12-step programs, and I recently decided I was going to do a set of steps. Well, I just wrote my step 4, which is about all my character defects. And I have a hard time with the word character defects because that means I'm defective. And I guess in a sense I am, but that word is, I don't know, it's kind of dirty to me. And maybe that's why I struggled with doing the step for so long. However, I started writing it, and I have a pinched nerve in my neck, and it was somewhat okay. And then towards the end of writing this step 4, it got really bad. So I went to acupuncture, and at the end of acupuncture, the girl always massages my neck. She couldn't touch it. That's how painful it was.
Wow.
So I came home, and I took a little bit of a gummy bear, because that's what I do for the pain in my neck, because it works. All the other stuff that I've attempted to try does not work. And some people would go, you're in a 12-step program, you can't do that. And it's like, you know what, I'm not going to be a martyr. I'm going to do what works in my life to help regulate. Now, if I was using it, I would say differently, but I'm not. However, so anyways, I go to bed that night, look at it's like my neck's, it's a little sore, but it's not even, it's like it hasn't felt this good in years.
So there's release happening for sure.
So obviously from
Right.
the stuff I was carrying it in my neck.
Yeah. And I think, so that was a break for me. And that opened up my eyes to, okay, Carrie, you need to make better choices with men. Because is this going to happen again? If you go down that road again, is that going to happen? Like, I don't want that to happen again. And so I started like really looking internally, and I started dancing every morning because that's my way to increase my frequency, keep my vibration high, but also it's just great for movement and releasing stress. So I started dancing every morning. I started going to yoga once a week. I started working out 3 times a week, and I started journaling. And so just really like getting back into myself and trying to heal from whatever trauma I had. And I didn't even know like what trauma I had really, but obviously had some. And just started going down that healing path. And then the next guy I met, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a little more discerning, but apparently Spirit wanted to teach me another lesson. So that guy stole from me, and he stole my debit card information. And then I took a break from men for a while, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not going on any dating apps. I don't want to meet anybody. I don't want anything to do with this. And then I was introduced to someone through someone else, through a mutual connection. So I figured, okay, well, this is much safer. Wounded masculine.
There you go.
Need I say more? So now my discernment is sky high. But through those 3 different fractures, that let me see exactly like what was missing in myself, and to continue to heal and to bring in more light and to let more light in.
Yeah, totally. And how are you finding sort of your elevation, and then the friends, the people you know in your previous sort of space, like has that really shifted and changed for you over the last like 3 to 5 years that you talked about your?
Oh my gosh, significantly. I like deep conversations, and I am not a surface level conversation person. Most of the time I have conversations with people, I'm just like, why did I leave the house? It's no, it's incredibly challenging. Like when you've seen behind the veil, it is so hard to have normal conversations with people, or like I can have conversations with other people who are spiritually aware or who have gone through a spiritual awakening, but those who are still fast asleep, it's almost impossible to have a conversation with them. And so yes, like I lost my marriage to this. And so like that he had to go away, right? Because he wasn't rising to where I was rising to that level. And I have seen friends fall off who I used to be friends with. And I'm like a magnet. I've been told I am very magnetic, and I either repel people or I attract them. Like there's no in between. And that's in professional situations and personal situations.
Yeah, we're on that path as well, for sure, of awakening. I don't know if we're at any pinnacle point, but it's definitely like lots of awarenesses coming down, and just things of, you know, life does have these opportunities. It's to tune in. And one of the things that you spoke about and what you sent me was what I call the gut feeling of what is happening, what is going on, and awareness. And how do you kind of tune into that?
It's hard. I have been told that I'm very intuitive. Now, do I always recognize it? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I do know about the gut thing though, because for instance, the last time I was with the person who I was with off and on for 9 months, I was so nauseous afterwards. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. That's a sign. Like you're not supposed to be with him anymore. Super nauseous. And I hadn't had anything to drink, like no alcohol, like it wasn't food poisoning or anything like that. It was truly like my body will repel people, like it will tell me. So I know from a physical standpoint, if it's with a partner, that my body will tell me like you're with the wrong person, through many different avenues. But it's hard to listen to your intuition and what it's telling you. I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, maybe it's not so much the intuition that I listen to, it's the signs and synchronicities that show up outside of just like gut feeling.
Yeah, the patterns, right?
The patterns. So the angel numbers. Just
I have to ask this, what exactly are angel numbers? Because I've heard other people talk about them.
okay.
And to me, it's like, woohoo.
You don't know.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but that's just
don't
where
know.
my brain goes.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Because I wasn't aware of them either. And it wasn't until I met someone else who was spiritually awakened. And she even told me, she was like, you were always meant to be awakened. Like there are no ifs, ands, or buts. You were always meant to awaken. And certain people are. And and so it was after meeting her and after going through a couple of these unexplained situations that I just started seeing like 111, 1010, 1212, 222, 333, 444. Like whenever I would look at the clock, it's like, okay. And then I told my friend about it and she's like, oh yeah, you're starting to see angel numbers now. Those are synchronicities. And I was like, what? And so I started doing some research on it, and it's patterns. And they're just signs and synchronicities that continue to show up. And so I would ask Spirit, give me a sign of whatever it is that I would ask, and then an angel number would show up. And mine have changed now. So I used to get the traditional ones, which are the 111, 1111, 1010, 1212, 222, 333, 444, 555, 666, all of those. Now I'm getting all 11s. So every single time, stop it. It's 911.
There you go.
Angel number.
Yeah.
So 211, 311, 411, 511, 611, 711, 811, 9, 12, 11. All the 11s. I am getting I had 25 angel numbers in one day the other day.
Wow.
So it's the universe speaking to me somehow. I don't know what it's trying to tell me. Because quite literally, I could get hit over the head with a sign and I wouldn't know. It's but like it's getting ridiculous. It's like, really?
Yeah. And with that, because I think of this, I've learned over the last several years, being okay with uncertainty. So not knowing what this means, where it's going to take you. How do you look at being hit over the head with all these numbers? How do you manage that, deal that? How do you internalize that in regards to your future?
Well, so one of them, 7-Eleven, the meaning of that one is so there's a number, there's a main number that comes from all of those, and then there is the angel word, and the one for 7-Eleven is spotlight. And consistently 7-Eleven just keeps showing up. And then the other piece of that was you are meant to help heal people. And the way you're going to do that is if you are invited on a podcast, go. If you're invited to do something on social media, do it. If you may be invited to speak on stage, do it. Take any opportunity that you can to help others. And so 7-Eleven just kept showing up. And I was like, well, this is definitely a sign. And I finally had to surrender. I did hire a spiritual coach for a little while, and she helped me kind of manage and make sense of some of these things that were happening. And she said the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to surrender. You can't try and control all this stuff. And so I lit a candle and just basically said, I surrender to the process and what the universe wants to put in front of me. Now, and that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily, like, you still do work to better yourself, career position, or whatever it is. You still have to do some of the work, but just to surrender. And that's the same thing that I've done for like dating or romance. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I've given it to the universe. And when my divine masculine is ready to come forward and come face to face with me, then divine timing. I'm not going to force anything.
Is that part of your emotional freedom you kind of spoke about as well in your manifesto, Unbreakable Light? You talked about that emotional freedom. So surrendering and emotional freedom, do those go together for you?
I would say they do. I'm probably one of the calmest people out there. I've dealt with a lot of stuff, and I'm always just like, okay, universe, go for it. Whatever. What do you got for me? I can handle it. But and so for me, I think it is. It's just surrendering, and it's peaceful. It's like I'm so at peace, even with the way that the world is right now. I mean, it taught me to be. I've always been heart-centered, but it really taught me to be even more heart-centered and to not live in fear and to approach everything from a love standpoint. And I think it took getting divorced to get to that point, because I didn't have that in my marriage. And so every time, and I'm all in, like I'm a highly emotional person, and like I can hear song lyrics of some sort and I'll just cry.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I'm a feeler. I'm a deep feeler.
Yeah, me too. Watch a movie, hear a song. Yeah.
Greeting card shopping. Who's that girl crying in the aisle reading greeting cards? Yeah.
Yeah, very emotional.
It's funny how, though, you were kind of talking about it earlier. You used a different word than I like to use. I think you used the word signs. I like to use the word nudges.
True.
Okay. Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
life
Absolutely.
throws us, and the biggest one for me, it's like over a 10 or 15-year period, I was getting nudges to go see this Dr. Amen in the States. He's a leading psychiatrist about ADHD and stuff. And it took I'll say four major nudges from different directions. The first one was from a counselor. The second one was from a guy that I worked with that I hardly knew that he wanted to go to AA meetings, so I was taking him to AA meetings. He walked up with Dr. Amen's book and handed it to me in the truck and said, "You need to read this." And then the third one, Lisa and I took a course, and his name got brought up again, and Lisa started doing research on him, and she's like, "When we go back to Canada, you're going to see him."
Those are definitely nudges from
Yeah.
the universe. Absolutely. Yeah. I've had a lot of that happen as well. Yeah.
And so
It like continues.
yeah, exactly. And so how do you use this sort of awareness for yourself in the work world, the business world? What does that look like for you?
So I would say, I definitely have a much higher intuition now. And in the past, I would say people could take advantage of me or be really manipulative towards me. I'm able to spot it now pretty quickly. And like I spotted a lie when it was being said to me. And then I confirmed it was someone else that it was a lie. And so I would say my discernment has gotten a lot higher. My intuition has gotten higher, even if I don't see it necessarily that way. I was working for a company, and they were having a celebration. It was like an annual celebration at the time. And I said, and they were doing prizes and certain things like that. And I was sitting at my desk and I said, I'm going to win a prize. And I walked into the celebration and they were announcing my name.
So you definitely have that. You have
It's
that
funny how we
understanding.
can project stuff, because my biggest realization was last year. 2 years, or maybe even 3 years prior, 2 years prior, Lisa and I were doing this course and we needed to sell people on stuff. So
It was part of an exercise.
it was
to
part of
see-
an exercise, and
Yeah.
so on a piece of paper, and I'm not a very good artist, but I drew a resort on a beach in Thailand that friends could come and visit us.
Guess what's
Two,
happening?
2 years later, we built a house in Thailand. It's not on the beach. However, it's our resort in the back. Like, it's spectacular.
And friends have come
And
to
friends
visit.
have come to visit. And it's like last year when it dawned on me, it was like, wow. And you're talking to a gentleman that I used to think the universe hated me.
Yes, I would love to get
And-
your thoughts on that, actually.
However, it did, because that's what I was projecting out. I was projecting negativity and negativity and negativity. So if you're hearing this, I'm living proof that if you slowly start working on yourself and project positivity, this house where I'm living is proof. My
Absolutely.
life is proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's, so you were manifesting, even though you didn't know you were manifesting.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I've been told that we're powerful manifestors. And so you saw that come true. And I did too. Like, my psychic told me, with the guy I dated off and on for 9 months, she said, you manifested this. And I did. I wrote down in my journal for like 6 months prior everything that I wanted in a man. Apparently I wasn't specific enough because I
Wow.
got what I wrote down. Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that. In that where Lisa and I met, we were told to go, we were on silent mode and told to go back and write our hopes, dreams, and goals. And I went back, I'll go back a little bit in the story. I was more semi-suicidal ideation thoughts before I got to this course, and didn't really like life. I had a lot of medical stuff. So anyways, I'm in this course and I write stuff down and I wake up in the morning and my eyes aren't even open. So having said that, you can imagine what my hope, dream, and goals were, right? So I woke up and it's like, you ripped yourself off again.
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click Apply Here. Now back to the show.
Put some stuff on the paper that you really want. And now, coming from the age of where I come from, when you say partner, it means the same sex. And I don't mean any offense to that to anybody. That's just the age where I come from.
Okay.
And I put down I wanted a partner. No specifics, no nothing. I just wanted a partner.
Ta-da!
2 days, no, I guess it was more than that. About 3 days later, we had no intention of dating. And we went out for dinner and we've been together ever since.
Oh, I love that.
And it's, to me, that's almost insane. However, it's not, because it's like,
It does show how powerful, like you said, Carrie, how powerful we are, and we're not even aware. And so putting that power to good for humanity, like what you were also sharing as well. So this unbreakable light manifesto that just came to you, can you kind of explain what you meant it just came to you?
So I was going through an exercise with trying to figure out what my brand is going to be for the professional speaking. And I've always been told that I'm a bright light. And I also just, it just came to me. You have to break, you have to fracture in order to let the light in. And so I was like, unbreakable light. That sounds great. And okay, I went to Chat GPT and I said, okay, here's unbreakable light. Can you help me write a manifesto? I'm going to admit that. Okay. I didn't write it all by myself.
Yeah.
I used the tools. And so that's how it was born. And I even have a song called Unbreakable Light.
Oh.
That I used AI to produce. And it was so easy. It did it in like 30 seconds. And it is the most, like, I'm in love with the song. Like, it could not be any more perfect. I love to dance, and it's a dance tune. And so Unbreakable Light, the book, Unbreakable Light, the manifesto, Unbreakable Light, the song. So that's really how I came up with it.
I love it. You inspired me.
So-
I might make a song.
We're kind of running out of time. Where can people reach you?
That is a great question. So I am on Facebook under Carrie Ulvestad, Ulvestad, Corcoran, Corcoran. My Facebook profile is public. I decided to go completely public with it, which was a little scary for me, but I'm doing it. And on LinkedIn. I am always, always, always on LinkedIn. I'm a connector at heart. I'm a marketer. And so people can easily find me as Carrie Corcoran on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'll be producing a lot of content around this. And I'm super excited to share it with the world.
Well,
Awesome.
we are very blessed, I guess. That's just the best word. I don't know. Grateful, blessed that you are part of our conversation, because, like what you said, bringing this light to ourselves first, so we can bring it to humanity and have a shift in the greater world. We really appreciate your time, your gift, your wisdom, everything that you shared with us. So, in our Thai way,
We're closed.
yeah, we'll say thank you.
Kapun krap.
That's what we like to say.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa and Scott. It was a pleasure being on here. And Lisa, connect with me because I will get you a song.
Ah, perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Want to get our books fast and at the best price? Get your electronic copy at https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Again, that's https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors.